Hey guys, I'm Dave Skinz. I'm the brand manager for Audiosure, and I handle some products like Akai, Alesis and AKG, and I'm here today to talk about some of the really cool stuff coming out of those brands. Okay, so kicking it off, talk about the new upgrades that are coming out. So we've got the MPC Live upgrade and the MPC X upgrade that's come out. This is going to start to allow you to integrate projects with each other and specifically be able to swap projects from Ableton directly to the Live and back. And that's a huge thing. There's a whole bunch of other features that are mentioned on that one. But the big one for us obviously is the Force. This is a standalone Ableton device. You'll be able to launch grids and control effects all in a standalone project. And what they've done now with the new upgrade, which is 3.03, you'll be able to directly integrate your products directly from Ableton onto the Force and vice versa. So now you can literally take your projects from Ableton, load them up to the Force and directly from the other side. So that makes a huge difference. It just proves that the Akai guys are listening to the teams out there and to what the feedback from customers is, and making the changes and making the devices more usable. No product comes out perfect, but with user interfacing and with user input, we can definitely get something that's going to be cracking out and really start to be used more for live performances. Another cool product we're featuring at the moment is the Alesis, the Strike Multipad, and that's basically a drum pad which will have sampling, looping all built in, as well as an audio interface. So now there's no worrying about moving music across, getting it prepared for this, setting all your stuff ahead of time and loading onto a drum machine. You can literally pinch and drop your loops and samples now, so your overdubbing and all of that can be done directly on one device. And those are some of the really cool products coming out now. There's some really spectacular stuff on the way I'm not allowed to talk about, but rest assured, I think we're looking third and fourth quarter of this year, we'll be starting some spectacular products coming through. Yeah, look, I think MPC started off in hip-hop, so there's no doubt it's got its roots in hip-hop in terms of production, and you could sort of track back the entire origins of hip-hop to the MPC 60 and the Lin drum. But I think nowadays with what they've done and adding all the devices, so they've added VST instruments, they've added the effects chains. They started opening into a device now which is not just about a studio. I think it's starting to be a live performance device as well, not just for finger drummers, but for guys that want to actually have a live element in terms of their shows. And I think the flexibility they've given in terms of audio interface and recording, we've seen guys like John Mayer tour with it now. So he'll take an MPC X on tour with him, he'll do all his backtracks on there, plug in a guitar, plug in a condenser mic, and do his whole show directly off that. So it's just changing that mindset, and I think Akai's always been about tools for performers, and I think the MPC X and MPC Live starting to get into that space now. Some of our local artists, guys like Ryan Murgatroyd, using an MPC Live as a drum machine solely. We've had other performers in the house using it just for the synths and the effects. So I think it's a tool that can be used, and definitely it is hip-hop entrenched, but I'm starting to see a lot more live electronic producers and live musicians starting to incorporate it, because they're starting to understand that music making should be about where you are and not about being in a specific space to make music. And I think MPC Live encourages that, and also lets you pick up something straight out the studio, take it onto a stage and perform with it. And for me, that's really invaluable. Other cool stuff, MPK Mini Play is a really cool piece of kit. I see a lot of guys are playing around with it at the moment. That's basically an MPK Mini, which is the world's best-selling MIDI controller, and they put a speaker into it. They put the general MIDI sound sets. You've got 128 sounds, and you've got 10 drum kits built into the unit that you can run off a speaker or plug in your headphones. So that makes it a lot more flexible now for guys just to literally take it out on the road, come up with something. I can literally play it out in the general MIDI sound set. I can plug that straight into a speaker and play it out, or I can use it as a MIDI controller as well. So for those traveling guys, it falls in that really cool gap. And I think for the retail guys that get those, listen, I bought this MPK Mini and I plugged into my speaker and it doesn't work, it really fits the gap for those entry-level customers that don't quite understand what MIDI is all about.
A big thanks to IDM Mag, proud supporters of the dance music scene and my channel.